Have you ever wondered how our decisions today shape our tomorrow? As time goes on, the path of life is paved with choices that can either elevate us to the peaks of self-fulfillment and happiness or subtly erode the foundation of our well-being. The irony is that sometimes the most seemingly insignificant mistakes can, over the years, turn into serious consequences, poisoning existence with loneliness, financial troubles, and even health problems that could have been avoided. We're going to talk about 5 common mistakes that, like quiet sabotage, can gradually ruin life in old age. Some of them may seem unexpected because they are made so gradually and imperceptibly that the realization of the impending consequences comes too late. But once you learn to recognize these dangerous patterns, you will have the chance to make informed choices, avoid bitter regrets, and take control of your destiny. Get ready to learn about the pitfalls that may lie in wait for you on your life's journey and how to avoid them to ensure a happy and prosperous future. Stay with us until the end of this exciting journey because it's not just about avoiding annoying mistakes, but about creating a foundation for golden years filled with happiness, meaning, and good health. We will carefully analyze 5 key mistakes that, like insidious shadows, lie in wait for us on the path of life, find out the reasons for their occurrence, and offer effective strategies to avoid their destructive impact and build a brighter future. If you strive to unlock your potential and not let random miscalculations hold you back, don't miss a single detail. So, let's begin our research. 1. Neglecting physical health. One of the most common and, alas, devastating mistakes people make as they enter adulthood is neglecting their physical well-being. Often this process begins gradually, with minor omissions. A missed morning jog, choosing fast food instead of a balanced diet. But over time, these seemingly harmless habits accumulate like a snowball, leading to serious consequences. As mobility and energy levels decline, many people mistakenly believe that this is an inevitable part of the aging process. However, in reality, a significant part of the decline in strength and health that we observe in old age is due not so much to natural aging as to a sedentary lifestyle, unhealthy diet, and ignoring the warning signs that our body sends at the early stages of the development of diseases. The feeling of discomfort after prolonged sitting or worsening coordination serve as signals from the body indicating the need for activity. Movement plays a vital role at any age, and its lack entails negative consequences. The less a person moves, the more difficult it is for them to maintain physical activity. Over time, performing ordinary actions, such as getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or trying to reach an object from the top shelf, becomes a difficult task. Weakened muscles lead to impaired coordination, which significantly increases the risk of falls, especially dangerous for older people. A fall can result in serious injuries requiring long-term rehabilitation, and in some cases, irreversibly changing the quality of life. As an example, consider Henry's story. At 74, he considered himself a fairly healthy person, but gradually gave up his daily walks. After a few months, he noticed that standing for a long time began to cause him fatigue and knee pain. When he finally decided to resume exercising, he found that he had lost significant strength, and even short walks caused him shortness of breath. It took months of hard training to regain his lost form, and he often regretted allowing himself to relax and abandon physical exercise. A common problem that overshadows the golden years is neglecting diet. Many older people mistakenly believe that a decrease in appetite frees them from the need to take care of a balanced diet. However, over time, the body, on the contrary, experiences an increased need for certain nutrients. Protein becomes vital for maintaining muscle mass, calcium, for bone strength, and fiber, for the smooth operation of the digestive system. Eating refined foods, refusing full meals, or snacking on the go are fraught with a deficiency of necessary substances. This leads to a decline in strength, weakening of the immune system, and creates a favorable ground for the development of chronic diseases such as diabetes and hypertension. Another serious mistake is ignoring preventive checkups. Many people postpone visiting the doctor until they feel seriously ill. However, regular checkups allow for the detection of diseases in their early stages, when treatment is most effective. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, and even early signs of osteoporosis often have no symptoms. By the time a person realizes there is a problem, significant damage to their health may have already occurred. Taking care of your health is an active position, not passively waiting until an ailment becomes incurable. Optimistic news. It's never too late to strive for change. Even modest steps, such as increasing daily activity by 15 minutes of walking or replacing refined foods with fresh, natural ingredients, can have a noticeable impact on overall well-being. Weight-bearing exercises, even with light weights or resistance bands, play an important role in maintaining muscle mass and preventing physical weakness. Regular preventive checkups with a doctor help identify potential health problems early before they develop into serious illnesses. Caring for your body is not an attempt to avoid the inevitable aging process, but rather a desire to enjoy your favorite activities and maintain an active lifestyle for as long as possible. Social isolation, alienation from friends and family, is one of the most unfortunate mistakes people make in older age. At first glance, it may seem innocent. A person stops attending certain events, reduces the number of phone calls, or concludes that others are too busy to visit. However, over time, such self-isolation can imperceptibly lead to feelings of loneliness, the development of depressive states, and even accelerated deterioration of mental and physical health. Humans are social beings, and having strong social connections goes far beyond simply spending time with others. It is the foundation for a sense of purpose in life, active participation in community activities, and maintaining emotional health. It is a common belief that loneliness is an inevitable companion of old age, but this belief is mistaken. Scientific studies convincingly demonstrate that social isolation has an effect on the human body comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It significantly increases the risk of developing cardiovascular diseases, weakens the protective functions of the immune system, and, alarmingly, increases the likelihood of developing dementia. When the brain is deprived of the regular stimulation provided by communication, shared experiences, and emotional intimacy, its activity gradually declines, which in turn increases the risk of memory impairment and reduced cognitive function. As an example, consider the story of Dorothy, a 76-year-old woman who gradually lost contact with her friends. She convinced herself that they were probably too busy with their families and didn't want to bother them. Imperceptibly, weeks turned into months, and she found herself spending most of her time alone, finding comfort only in television. Dorothy stopped feeling like herself. Her life energy waned, her mood deteriorated, and she found it increasingly difficult to find motivation for activities that once brought her joy. However, when she finally made an effort to restore social connections, called an old friend, joined a local book club, and started inviting her grandchildren over more often, her outlook changed dramatically. Dorothy felt re-engaged in life, experienced a surge of happiness, and even noticed improved memory and increased energy levels. A common mistake is over-reliance on family as the sole source of socialization. While family plays a key role, placing exclusive responsibility for communication on them can lead to undesirable consequences. Close relatives are often burdened with their own concerns, so having a wide network of friends, neighbors, or like-minded people in the community is extremely important. A variety of social contacts enriches life and ensures that a person does not feel lonely if family members are busy. Modern technologies have greatly simplified maintaining connections, but many older people avoid them, considering them complex and unfamiliar. In reality, using simple tools such as video calls, social media, or voice messages can maintain meaningful relationships, especially when personal meetings are difficult. Mastering these tools is not just following fashion, but a necessity dictated by the realities of the digital world. Fortunately, it is never too late to restore lost connections. Joining a club, volunteering, attending local events, or even a simple weekly call to a friend can significantly impact the quality of life. The key is not to fill a social calendar, but to maintain meaningful connections that stimulate mental activity, emotional fulfillment, and engagement with the world around you. A reluctance to adapt to change becomes a significant obstacle in life's journey. A common mistake among older adults is a stubborn rejection of anything new, whether it's technological innovations, changes in lifestyle, or transformations in social norms. Many older people show steadfastness in refusing to keep up with the times. This is understandable. Change often causes discomfort, and after many years of living by certain rules, there's a feeling that there's no need to learn anything new. However, the harsh reality is that refusing to adapt doesn't stop progress. It only complicates life and leads to isolation. Many believe that modern technologies are exclusively for the young, but in today's world, maintaining social connections often depends directly on a willingness to learn, whether it's mastering a smartphone, understanding the principles of online banking, or knowing how to make video calls. These skills are no longer just conveniences, but necessities. When older people refuse to learn even basic digital tools, they risk being excluded from important discussions, face difficulties in performing everyday tasks that could be greatly simplified, and become more vulnerable to scammers due to a lack of understanding of how modern systems work. Consider the case of Albert, who at the venerable age of 78 had to face the dilemma of choosing between the familiar and the modern. For a long time, he stubbornly refused to use a smartphone, convinced that the functionality of his old flip phone was sufficient. However, time made its adjustments. His grandchildren actively communicated in group chats inaccessible to his device. Banking institutions increasingly offered online access to services, and countless conveniences that could significantly ease his daily life remained beyond his reach. In the end, Albert decided to give new technologies a chance. With patience and persistence, he mastered sending text messages, making video calls, and even ordering groceries online. What started as a forced measure unexpectedly turned into a factor that significantly improved his quality of life. Another manifestation of resistance to change is the stubborn adherence to outdated habits, even when more effective alternatives exist. This can manifest in various aspects, from a reluctance to adjust the diet for better health, to ignoring modern safety measures in the home, or rejecting new medical recommendations that contradict outdated beliefs. The conviction "I've always done it this way" can be dangerous, especially when there are safer, more effective, and modern alternatives. Life inevitably makes adjustments in the realm of interpersonal relationships, where an inability to adapt can cause estrangement between loved ones. The new generation demonstrates different approaches to communication, adheres to different values, and leads a lifestyle that sometimes differs radically from the familiar. Instead of succumbing to criticism or resisting these manifestations, it's worth meeting them with an open mind, which will strengthen family ties rather than alienate loved ones. Many older people notice that once they stop clinging to the past and start interacting with the surrounding reality, their sense of connection with the world increases, and their feelings of disappointment weaken. Adapting to change doesn't mean giving up one's own identity. Rather, it demonstrates the flexibility needed to move forward. Time cannot be turned back, and the more a person is willing to learn, adapt, and develop, the more independent and self-sufficient they become. It's never too late to learn new ways of doing things, and the wider the horizons of perception, the clearer it becomes that change is not a threat, but a source of unexpected joys and opportunities that can enrich life. Mistakes in financial planning are one of the most serious problems faced by older adults. It is a common belief that with age, especially after retirement and with savings in hand, money loses its significance. However, the reality is that financial miscalculations, such as overspending, underestimating future expenses, or lacking a contingency plan, can turn years of well-deserved rest into a period of anxiety, deprivation, and dependence on outside assistance. Many elderly people mistakenly believe that their savings are sufficient for a comfortable life, but unfortunately, they realize their mistake too late when medical bills, inflation, or unexpected expenses quickly deplete their savings. It's crucial not only to have a certain amount of money, but also to ensure its preservation for the long term. Even those who had a stable financial position in their youth can face difficulties if they don't adapt their consumer habits to the new realities of life. Consider the situation of Richard, a respectable 72-year-old man who carelessly spent his retirement savings, confident that they would be enough for a carefree life. He enjoyed traveling, delighting his grandchildren with generous gifts, and regularly visiting restaurants. However, as he approached his 70s, he anxiously discovered that his savings were dwindling relentlessly. Unexpected medical expenses became a heavy burden, and the need for long-term care was not foreseen at all. As a result, facing financial difficulties, he was forced to turn to his children for help, which he had always strived to avoid. If he had shown greater foresight in managing his finances, he could have significantly extended the life of his savings and maintain his desired financial independence. Another common mistake among older adults is neglecting financial planning. Many mistakenly believe that upon retirement, the need for investments, budgeting, and financial adjustments disappears. However, managing personal finances is an ongoing process, and even in old age, making informed financial decisions can significantly impact one's comfort and carefree living. Carefully tracking expenses, assessing necessary funds for healthcare, and planning for potential long-term care can all prevent financial difficulties in the future. Elderly people, due to their trust and life experience, are often vulnerable targets for fraudsters seeking to profit from their honesty. One of the most tragic ways for older adults to lose financial stability is through the abuse of their trust by unscrupulous individuals. Sophisticated telephone scams, phishing emails, and even fake consultants skillfully manipulating their victims can quickly deprive an elderly person of their life savings. Many members of the older generation were raised in an era where trust in others was the norm, and scammers shamelessly exploit this. To protect themselves, older adults need to learn to recognize financial scams, avoid dubious offers, and involve trusted financial advisors or family members in making important financial decisions. Foresight and vigilance can help prevent catastrophic losses. It's important to understand that financial security in old age is determined not only by the amount of accumulated capital, but also by wise management of available funds. Careful budgeting, conscious rejection of unnecessary expenses, and advanced preparation for future expenses are the keys to long-term financial stability. It's never too late to make adjustments to your financial strategy, and even small changes made today can provide peace of mind and eliminate financial stress in the future. Neglecting intellectual development and losing life goals represent one of the most serious and often overlooked mistakes that significantly impact the quality of life in old age. Often, older people mistakenly believe that with retirement, their period of personal growth, acquiring new knowledge, and contributing to public life also ends. However, as practice shows, having a meaningful goal, hobby, passion, or desire to solve new problems is a crucial factor in maintaining mental clarity, emotional well-being, and physical health. A widespread misconception is the belief that cognitive function inevitably declines with age. Of course, aging is accompanied by certain changes in the body, but the brain retains the ability to learn, adapt, and form new neural connections throughout life. The main danger lies not in age itself, but in inactivity and refusal to engage in intellectual activity. When older people stop stimulating their brains, its function slows down, which can lead to a decline in cognitive functions. Numerous studies confirm that people who continue to learn and develop, whether through reading, solving puzzles, or acquiring new skills, are significantly less likely to experience problems related to cognitive decline. Thus, maintaining mental activity is a key factor in preserving health and quality of life in old age. Consider Linda, a 70-year-old woman who was once known for her boundless energy and thirst for knowledge. However, after retiring, she found herself spending her days in front of the television, sadly realizing that her best years, in her opinion, were behind her. Over time, signs of forgetfulness began to appear. Her interest in socializing waned, and she felt increasingly disconnected from the world around her. But one day, Linda decided to enroll in a painting class at a nearby community center, an activity she had never tried before. This decision breathed new life into her, sharpened her mind, and, importantly, gave her new friends. Another serious mistake many older adults make is lacking a reason to get up in the morning. After decades of working, raising children, and fulfilling numerous responsibilities, they suddenly find themselves at a loss when these roles fade into the past. Without a sense of purpose, discouragement and depression quickly set in. Having a reason to stay active, whether it's volunteering, mentoring young people, gardening, or even writing a book, brings structure, motivation, and a sense of satisfaction to everyday life. In their later years, some people are reluctant to try new activities, fearing possible failures or believing that it's too late to start. However, reality shows that age is not a barrier to acquiring new knowledge and skills. There are many inspiring examples of people starting new careers, learning foreign languages, or pursuing hobbies in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Personal development does not stop with age. It only stops when a person gives up trying. Maintaining mental activity and having a purpose in life not only positively affects emotional well-being, but also impacts life expectancy, cognitive function, and even physical health. People who continue to challenge themselves, remain curious, and find new ways to benefit the world live happier and more fulfilling lives. Regardless of age, the mind retains the capacity to grow, and life retains its meaning. The key is to keep moving forward, keep learning, and never think that the best times are behind you. In conclusion, after a detailed analysis of the misconceptions presented, it is worth taking a moment to reflect on how these mistakes can affect personal lives or the lives of loved ones. Aging is not just a biological process. It is a series of choices that determine whether the mature years will be marked by happiness, purpose, and independence, or whether they will turn into disappointment and regret for missed opportunities. The optimistic point is that preventing these mistakes does not require radical changes. Small adjustments to health, interpersonal relationships, mindset, and financial planning can significantly impact overall well-being. If physical health has been neglected, now is the perfect time to increase physical activity, balance the diet, and undergo regular medical checkups. In the case of social isolation, efforts should be made to reconnect with old friends, make new acquaintances, and learn modern technologies to maintain active participation in society. If resistance to change has become a habit, it is important to remember that adaptation does not mean losing one's identity, but rather provides tools for maintaining independence and staying connected to a rapidly changing world. If financial issues cause anxiety, decisive action must be taken to ensure financial stability, reduce unnecessary expenses, and protect against financial risks. In the event of a loss of purpose, one can start small. Delve into reading, try a new activity, or find a way to share wisdom and experience with others. The decisions made today will undoubtedly have a profound impact on the quality of life in the foreseeable future. It is never too late to take control, start making informed decisions, and strive to make the mature years the most fulfilling period of life.